Good morning, everybody, and what the FOC? I just wanted to make a quick video about FOC and why we pay attention to it, and why 15% is a good target to have for a good broadhead flight. And I also wanted to document that to get to that 15%, you don't need to have special components like ethics inserts or iron will inserts and collars and stuff. You can just run standard arrow components. So what do we have here? This is my 2024 arrow that I'm going to be running out of the Alpha X33. This is a Easton Axis, as you see, not a match grade. 340 spine, standard X-Knock, 3 fletch, left helical, AE Max Stealth. What do we have on the inside? We've just got the standard Easton 16 grain aluminum insert, the standard Easton number 3 collar, and here right now I've got screwed on as a Magnus Stinger 150 grain buzz cut. So I've been doing some tinkering around with this arrow and just breaking it down so everybody has a visual on what we're talking about. Is FOC is where is the center of gravity of the arrow along the shaft expressed as a percentage of the arrow's overall length. So what you can see here is I took this arrow and I screwed in 3 different points. We've got the 100 grain, the 125, and the 150, right? And you can see here's the center of gravity point for the 100 grain. Here's the center of gravity point for the 125, and there's the center of gravity point for the 150. So you can see that there's a giant difference between a 100 and a 125. You get a lot of benefit for that. And what it really came down to is about 2.7% FOC increase by going from a 100 to a 125. Now, increasing that 25 grains of point weight, you're going to lose some velocity. My experience says between 5 and 7 feet per second. But then you can see that going from a 125 grain head to a 150 grain head, we only had an increase of 1.6%. So you're starting to reach the point of diminishing returns. Because with that increased weight, you're still going to lose another 5 to 7 feet per second. So you could achieve using standard components. I think Nate Sellers says that he called this a bell curve arrow. I mean, very standard. Nothing special, no real crazy weight. It's right now in this configuration with a 150 grain head, it's 472.4 grains with a 16.7 FOC. Where is it? Lost it. There it goes. So there's the balance point, that line there, and that's 16.7% FOC. But if 15% is your objective, you can achieve that with just a standard 125. So 15% has been found to be a very good target. And why is that? Well, for broadhead flight, it's been found that 15% offers really good broadhead flight without sacrificing up too much velocity, as we just discussed. You know, going to a 150 grain head in this example and getting up around 16.7 FOC, you're going to just sacrifice another few feet per second there, 5 to 7 feet per second, for very little change in FOC. And why is FOC important? Well, what it does is it gives, so let's back up. By screwing on a fixed blade broadhead, what you're doing is you're putting fins on the end of your arrow that want to control the arrow. Well, you need to overpower that with your vanes, right? Well, all of the forces on the arrow act on the arrow around the center of gravity. So by increasing the FOC and moving that center of gravity forward on the shaft, you reduce, because of the moment, you have a force here acting in a moment multiplied by that length. That moment is decreased when you move that center of gravity forward. And also by moving it forward, the force of the corrective lift that your vanes create when your broadhead wants to deviate the arrow off course, right? By moving that forward, that center of gravity forward, you're increasing that moment that the force is multiplied by back here on the vanes to get you back on the flight path. So that is why everybody goes, oh man, I get much better broadhead flight when you get up around 15%. But take that with a grain of salt, folks, because you don't have to use any crazy components to get there. And really standard insert, a 125 grain head using a run-of-the-mill arrow, it looks like, at least in this example, you get to your 15%. Now, I choose to run a 150 grain head. And why is that? Well, up here in New York, man, most of your shots are going to be inside 30 yards, so I'm not so concerned about trajectory. Also, by moving that center of gravity forward and increasing my FOC, you see that we're shortening the length of shaft that is going to act in buckling when the arrow hits something hard, like an animal, right? Because when you hit, this length of carbon is going to want to buckle. So if you shorten that buckling length, it makes this section much stiffer, and it helps with your penetration. I hope you guys got something out of that. That's my morning ramble. So if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I'm still seeing that vast majority of folks are not subscribers. And give me a like on this video. This was kind of a, I don't know, an ad hoc here. The wife is off getting groceries and the kids are down in the basement watching some videos. And so I just thought I'd throw this together for you. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll catch you later.